In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to actually make a decision on your dream job about whether to accept it or not. Okay, let's go. So why am I doing this video? Because when I accepted my dream job as a probation officer, it was a 2-hour distance from my house, probably 2.5 hours, and that's one way. So sometimes this is the case when you are applying for graduate schemes, not only the probation officer scheme, but I will talk about that specifically. But this applies for quite a lot because jobs like this are so scarce. When you actually have finally got it, sometimes you think, oh, I'll think about that later when I actually get the job. So you think, yeah, I'll deal with that consequences later. I know that was me anyway. I thought, yeah, I'll deal with that later on. Let's just get through the first hurdle of actually applying. So first thing I need to say is massive congratulations, because when you actually get the job offer, it's kind of like, you're kind of gobsmacked. You think, what, me? You sure? So firstly, well done if you're in this position. So 3 things I want to talk about in this video are what you need to consider if you are accepting a job that's a little bit further from home. So number 1, what is your family circumstances? What is your family situation? That is number 1 that you need to think about, because essentially you need to know if it's going to work not only for you, but your family. So I'll tell you my personal experience. When I got the job as a probation officer, I was living in Northampton, and the job that I applied for was in London. So at the time, I didn't have family, well, like kids, so I had no kids. I was living with my boyfriend. He had a job in the area where we lived, but, you know, it wasn't a career, you know, it was a job. He could get a job anywhere, essentially. So at first, I did start traveling from Northampton to London. So when I found out I got the job, you can, this is the probation officer job, you can select 6 offices that you can go to. That was at my time. It may be slightly different now, but there were 6 areas. But first of all, I'm going to rewind, because I'll tell you what happened before I actually started traveling. So when I found out I got the job, so there will be 6 options for the probation officer job of the offices where you want to be located, and they're normally done by area. So for example, London will be the whole of London, like South East will be the whole of South East. So you really need to have a look on the website to see what offices cover those areas and how much of a distance the actual office is from your house. Again, this is something I didn't do. I just looked at what areas are closest to me, and I just kind of chose them. I roughly looked at the train journey. But so for me, I worked in Willesden. I was looking up the time it would take me to get from my house to Willesden train station. It was only when I got there did I realise actually the tube line that is best is on the Jubilee line, Dollis Hill or Neasden. So think about that as well. The name of the train station might not actually be the closest to your office, especially if you're in London. So I guess that's top tip number 2, is actually find out the exact distance. And can you drive there? So that was another option I had. It was free parking. There was enough parking for staff. However, at my most recent office, there was no parking for staff. So it would have been town centre parking or pay for an NCP car park, which I think it was about £5 to £7 a day. So you need to think about that as well. So that then brings me to number 3, which is what is the cost? Is it going to cost you to get to work? So for me, I was kind of still in that student salary. So before I was working as a receptionist and an admin, so my salary wasn't high. I was obviously living on my own with my partner. So, you know, costs still had to be kept low. But for me, so at the time, I remember it being like £595 or something, £595 for a train ticket to get to work. But this is where you need to really think, okay, it's more an investment. So if I didn't take the job, I would be still in my admin job and I'd have to wait another year And I'm just like, why did I go for all this? So I kind of was in the mindset of, I'll do anything, even if I have to pay another mortgage or another, you know, our rent was 400 something. So it was more than the rent. But I thought, you know what? The training is for 18 months. At the end of it, I'm going to get a higher salary. I'll just have to sacrifice for these 18 months. So you have to prioritize what you're willing to sacrifice, because that is a reality. When I done my training, this was long before COVID. We weren't even working from home. So you're an added bonus, the fact that you can work from home. So you're going to be spending less on travel anyway. So that might help your decision. So those are my 3 main tips when deciding what office to put down if you've actually got through to the probation officer training. It's also relevant for any other career. So firstly, you want to think about what your family commitments are, what your family setup is. Secondly, you want to think about the actual real distance. And thirdly, you want to think of the cost of actually traveling there. And kind of like as a part of all of that is how much you can realistically work from home. Another thing is, don't be afraid to talk to your office to say if you have been offered a place, let them know your family circumstances, let them know that you're travelling from a long way, or let them know that maybe you would like to work from home several days. Just have those conversations. So yeah, I hope this helped. Share this with anyone else that you think it will be useful. I'm Edward's Tutoring on Instagram, Facebook, and obviously on YouTube. Subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching. All this month, I'm going to be doing a video challenge with Jessica Pizzold. She's an English tutor based in the US. I'm going to be posting 2 videos a week. So join me for everything to do with mindset, your psychology and criminology essays, and how to get a job as a probation officer. I'll be sharing all my tips, inside secrets, and everything. So thank you.